Good evening, everyone. So, for this session of our quick guides for safety related topics, we will focus on how to manage hazards. So, we will be tackling some basic approaches on how to address hazards and to lower the risks. Just in case, if after you are done with your hazard identification, risk assessment, and determining controls table or hierarchy, you can check that on my quick guide. I made a short guide on that. So here we'll focus on the approach on how to manage hazards. So again, as I said with the previous the quick guides, this is just a basic template, and it will be up to you as the safety officer, safety manager, or the safety head on how you will tailor fit this approach within your organization. And as I said, this is also a skill, so you have to work on this so you can be better at it. So you just need to practice it, work on it, and apply it in your work. So you'll get once you get the hang of it, you'll get used to it, and you can find more creative approaches on handling hazards. So now we'll be focusing, for example, for a coal operating plant. So let's focus on, for example, coal dust. So basically, when it comes to coal dust, it's a hazard in itself. So but you have ways to lower the risk involved. So the first approach you can do is by personal protective equipments, or what we commonly know as PPEs. Sorry for that. In order for you to address, for example, hazard on a environment which has coal dust, so commonly for coal-fired power plants or other similar operations, you have to provide PPEs for your employees. So this is the first level approach. This is the first level. So what will these PPEs address? So basically, you will require your employees to wear, for example, mask like N95 in order to address the dust. Next, that's a basic example. So with that, you have a PPE, and the risk will be lowered significantly. But in order to even lower the risk associated with hazard, you have to have a second level. So here, what you can use is administrative controls. So when you say administrative controls, you are referring to procedures, policies, even work instructions, and those visible signages. So that's a perfect example of a administrative control. Sorry for the background music for that. So that's the approach. So when you equip your employees with N95 and you make procedures to ensure that they wear N95 and make them know that this area requires N95, that's a second level approach in addressing the hazard associated with coal dust and resulting risk. So what do you do next is the third level, which is engineering controls. An example of an engineering control is as basic as a roof or a cover for your coal yard. So that's an approach. Since coal, when it gets blown or any form of force, it leads to it going into the air and making it like a fugitive dust. So you have to address that. So a basic approach would be the use of a cover or a roof for your coal yard. So that's a engineering control. What else could be an engineering control? You can use water cannons. That's an example of a engineering control, wherein you water the coal in order to manage it from not getting airborne. So that's one approach to under. Next, the fourth level, that would be substitution. Another approach in managing hazards and lowering the risk associated is by substitution. For example, I think for this example, this will not be applicable for coal, but in other industries wherein you use a radioactive material for that step of the process. So in order for you to handle that, in terms of substitution, you can replace the radioactive material and use a non-radioactive material. So basically not radioactive, in short. So that's an approach. That is what you call substitution. So you substitute the thing that causes high risk and its equivalent hazard. Since we are talking about a radioactive hazard that is a radioactive material, you can address the associated risk by replacing or by substitution or replacing the hazard in itself, which is the radioactive material. And the fifth level, the last one, is by elimination. So from the word itself, you totally remove the hazard. For example, in your step-up process, you use a radioactive material, but in return, you use something that is not radioactive but still poses as a hazard, since in this step you require this radiation scanning or any similar step in the process to make an analysis of a finished good or a material. But in elimination, what you can do is, for example, you can use a raw material that would not lead to that step wherein you have to see through the material by means of X-ray. So that means you have eliminated the hazard or that step. So you definitely lower the risk. So that is the last approach you can use. I'll leave this blank. That means you have eliminated the hazard. So just to sum it all up, so how to manage hazards and its associated risks. So you have to review it 5 levels. So first, you have to address it by providing PPEs. Next, second level, administrative controls. These are procedures, policies, work instructions, and signages. Third level, engineering controls. This is the cover, roof, water cannon, machine guards to protect you from moving parts. That's a perfect example of engineering control, a machine guard. Next, fourth level is substitution. You replace the hazard, so you will lower the associated level of the risk level of the associated risk. So that's another way. And lastly, fifth level, elimination. So that's a definite approach, definitely a good approach in handling hazards, and that will definitely lower the risk associated. So that's it. Please consider subscribing to my channel, like the video, and click the notification bell. That's all. Good day. Keep safe, everyone.